But when I look at this particular media bias monitor, it seems mostly to be a way to delegitimize the press.
That's exactly what it is. Hey there friends, welcome back to another Legally Armed America video. I'm of course Paul Glasgow here, the one and only truth pimp, dealing you a vulgar display of logic and reason on a daily basis. Have you seen Donald Trump's new little media offender website on the White House's website? It's a thing of beauty. You know how you got all these fact checker websites out there? This is essentially a federally run fact checking website. And let's not forget, Joe Biden did a lot of this same type of stuff before. He just didn't have a dedicated part to the website. But this website is meant to call out and point out a lot of the lies that are being spread by the media. And of course, it's going to be lies spread by the media regarding, in most cases, the Trump administration. There's way more lies out there than that. But it seems that there's one organization, CNN more specifically, that seems like they're taking most of the fire. And I wonder why that is. Real quick, friends, if you don't mind, go check out my friends over at Gideon Optics. Check out their new Judge XL reflex sight. This thing is awesome. It's huge, 28 by 22.5 millimeter window on a tiny RMSC footprint. Perfect for your staccato, your Canik, Glock 43X, P365 XL. Super tough, shake awake, 10 brightness settings, and right now it's only $239 with 22% off store-wide plus free shipping. Trade in your old optic for another 50% back. Use my code FTATF at checkout for immediate savings. Grab yours before the sale ends and get it just in time for Christmas for a great stocking stuffer.
The president has ramped up his attacks on journalists in recent weeks. This isn't a new strategy for him. We have seen this. What is this all about? Is this just about controlling the narrative?
To delegitimize the media. I would say it's to delegitimize the media, Jessica. This media bias monitor is being produced at taxpayer expense. It's a featured part of the White House website, and it's about trying to tarnish and demean various news outlets, as well as media outlets that have nothing to do with the news business. For example, one of the targets of this White House webpage is Whoopi Goldberg, the entertainer who co-hosts The View. So it's about targeting perceived liberals, perceived enemies, and as always, trying to attack the messenger.
Real quick, I gotta ask this. Why is this guy's voice so high-pitched? Did his balls never drop? I've never heard a grown-ass man with this much of a high-pitched voice on purpose.
But here's what happens whenever the president or his aides go after a journalist or go after a news outlet. It makes people wonder what the fuss is about, what the controversy is about. The other day, the president called a New York Times reporter ugly. It made more people want to read the story and find out what the story was about. That story was about the president's stamina and how he's less visible than he was during Trump 1.0 back in 2017. When he called a reporter at CBS stupid the other day, I wanted to know, what was that story about? The reporter was asking about Afghans coming to the U.S. and the vetting process of the U.S. government. A couple weeks ago, and the president called a reporter piggy. What was she asking about? The Epstein files. So I think when the president insults reporters or when the White House goes and claims media outlets are biased, it might draw more attention, more curiosity about what the stories are about. It might actually draw more attention to the questions being asked. And that way people can make up their own minds about whether the stories are legitimate, whether the questions are fair. Look, the White House, like any other entity, it can go ahead and criticize the press. Criticism can be a good thing. But when I look at this particular media bias monitor, it seems mostly to be a way to delegitimize the press.
It's funny how the people making the most noise about Trump's new media offender website are the ones most represented on the media offender website. And I understand why they're mad, because they're getting called out, and nobody has ever called them out. Again, all these little Snopes and all these other fact-checking websites, they've all been pro-liberal and pro-left. So even when these people have lied in the past, everyone has glazed over it and simply covered it up. Now someone's calling it out and they're pissed because, hey, that's not the way the game is played. We've never done that before. We've never called the left out before officially. How can you do that? These people are so set in their ways of knowing that that's not the way the game has always been played. Y'all are changing the rules. Yeah, we're changing the rules. I'm going to change some of the rules for you again today. I'm going to point out, because in many cases, the Trump administration is calling out the CNNs and the MSNBCs and even Fox News for lying. But I'm going to point out some of the things that maybe they haven't included. Some they may have, some they probably haven't. I'm going to give you the top 10 things that the media outright lied about. Now, there's way more than what I'm about to show you, but I'm going to give you my list of top 10 that we know they lied about. It wasn't a hunch. It wasn't an opinion that we had. We know emphatically these people lied about these 10 things that I'm about to show you. The CNN Russia bounty hoax. CNN pushed the story that Russia paid bounties to kill U.S. soldiers, later proven to be completely unverified and false by U.S. intelligence. CNN never retracted the story. My second one, CNN's false claim that Trump knew about WikiLeaks early. CNN said that Trump Jr. got a secret email giving him early access to WikiLeaks files. The timestamp, including the date, was completely wrong because the info was already public based on the timestamp of the proof that they showed. So is that lazy journalism by not checking the date? Or is it hoping that the general public is too stupid to actually look at that little date that's on there? Either way, somebody either didn't do their job by providing that and noticing that and saying we can't run this because the dates show that we're wrong, or somebody didn't do their job because they lied about it, because they're supposed to be journalists. CNN's Scaramucci Russia story. They had to retract this. The entire report was false. CNN retracted it, CNN apologized, and 3 reporters resigned, which is unbelievable and hardly ever seen in the media. So that shows you that this was completely fabricated internally, so bad that heads had to roll because it did put the network in jeopardy. CNN's Covington Catholic hoax. You guys remember this. It's where the guy was pounding the drum and all that garbage. CNN portrayed Nicholas Sandmann as the aggressor in this case. When they showed finally the full video on other networks, it showed quite the opposite. CNN ended up settling a massive defamation lawsuit that certainly hurt their bottom line. There's no doubt about that. CNN's pushing of the hands up, don't shoot narrative. You guys remember this? Michael Brown, the big, fat, tall, black dude that was mugging a store minutes earlier before he reached into Wilson's car to try to grab his gun from him, eventually got shot. Remember everybody said, hands up, don't shoot. They had full-blown, wait, I was going to call it a riot. They had full-blown protests. T-shirts made up. Hands up, don't shoot. Hands up, don't shoot. It was proven that that was a complete lie. The Obama DOJ even had to admit that the hands up claim never happened. CNN's false Border Patrol whipping migrant story. You guys remember this one, right? There's a picture of Border Patrol agents on horseback using the piece of leather that they use to whip their horses, to get their horses to do whatever. And because they saw that, they made the claim that these Border Patrol agents were whipping the illegal aliens trying to illegally enter our country. Multiple investigations by the Biden administration prove that nobody was whipped and that the photos were completely misinterpreted by CNN. MSNBC's false fire extinguisher story about Officer Sicknick. Yeah, you remember the insurrection. They claim that all these, they still say this, they still claim this, that these officers were killed. Officers were killed during the insurrection. To be clear, none were. Fact check me. None were. But Officer Sicknick did die, not that day, and not because of anything that happened there, and certainly not because of some stupid little fire extinguisher hoax story. The dude died of natural causes a day or two later. And that story was completely made up by at least MSNBC and carried by everybody else, including CNN. Here's one we all remember, CNN's promotion of the Steele dossier as credible. The DOJ and the FBI later confirmed that major portions were unverified and false. The story was completely made up. The entire story, the whole story was made up. They will still claim Russia collusion based on this fake dossier hoax to this day. CNN, MSNBC, they all still do it. It's proven false. CNN's, quote, fiery but mostly peaceful, unquote, chyron during riots. The iconic moment of propaganda. Violent riots labeled mostly peaceful while a city burned to the frickin' ground. I wonder who the control room producer punching the letters into the chyron, who he voted for that election year. What a lie. We still joke about it. It's a common phrase for us. Anytime we see Democrats rioting, we call them mostly peaceful. This is where it came from. This is where the actual lie originated from. And last but not least, MSNBC's claim that Rittenhouse chased protesters before he shot them. Now, eventually, courtroom video proved that he was running away, not chasing anyone. And you'll remember that skateboard boy can't exactly do the same things with his hands that he used to be able to. And I think they got rid of a child predator during the whole thing, too. Thank you, Kyle, for doing that. But yeah, it was a lie that was made up by these groups, MSNBCs, the CNNs, and they all ran with it. That this guy, because he had an AR-15, they wanted to demonize him. They said he chased down people and shot them. And again, video proved that they were lying about this. Witness accounts proved that they were lying. They made all this stuff up to try to demonize and smear a young man just because they didn't like his political views. Think about that. The Catholic story with the Nicholas Sandmann, Kyle Rittenhouse, these are two young men, two high school, college-aged men, let's put it that way, that these organizations had no problem trying to smear and ruining their entire futures, careers, whatever, based on what they knew, because they had the evidence. They knew was a lie. But it made for a good headline, so they were willing to sacrifice those guys because, hey, they knew they would never vote their way anyway. So what does it hurt? That's two less voters that might sit in jail. We don't care. That's how the media is. The media doesn't care about any of its collateral damage out there. When you look at these examples, all of them documented, all of them sourced, you realize that the media is not a watchdog that it used to be. It isn't some guardian of truth. It's not even neutral anymore. The media is a political actor that takes a partisan stance on every single story before it leaves and hits publication. They do all of this on purpose, and they're very well funded as a result of it. But for the first time, somebody in power has built a system to call them out publicly, permanently, and factually, and they are pissed. Trump's Media Offender website is not an attack on the press. It's an attack on a dishonest press, is what it is. And the ones screaming the loudest are the ones saying, we were the ones lying all along. So it must be working. Guys, if you liked the video, please hit that like button. Tell your friends and family about Legally Armed America. Tell them to come on over here. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell also that's going to give you a notification whenever I upload a video. I upload a video every single day. I sprinkle in some shorts in there, but I do put a long form out every single day. A lot of times I'll put shorts out there that will be more of a tease, if anything, of what the main video is going to be. And they're kind of comical sometimes.
Where the manifesto is and who radicalized you?
So, yo, I ain't trying to get clapped, you heard? I'm just trying to keep it real up in this mofo.
Don't forget, guys, if you're looking for a book to educate yourself and to educate the idiots out there who can't think for themselves regarding mass shootings, go to damnliars.net. Again, damnliars.net, and get my brand new book, Damn Liars.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America.
It's hanging around.